All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Today's broadcast is on July 7th. It's a lovely Monday, except we have some pretty shocking, pretty startling, very frankly depressing news. This is the biggest news in the nation today. We have a bombshell report coming out of Axios regarding the current state of the Jeffrey Epstein case. According to them, the DOJ and the FBI have both concluded that, guess what, there is no client list. The client list, all of the people that Jeffrey Epstein were and Ghislaine Maxwell were trafficking these people to, these really unfortunate individuals, it was nobody, actually. There is no client list. The client list has gone missing, or it's inconsequential, or it doesn't matter. Meaning the case is now over. At least that's what they want. At least that's what they are pushing right now. We also, coming out of the FBI, actually coming out of the DOJ specifically, we also have a new 10-hour-long video, 10 hours of raw, unedited footage directly from the DOJ from outside of Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell, meant to show that no one went in or out of that prison cell during the time that Jeffrey Epstein died. However, there's a little bit of an issue with this footage that they have released yesterday afternoon, and we're going to break all of that down. This footage is not what it seems. They're trying to push a certain narrative, the DOJ. They're trying to push a narrative here. They're trying to deceive people. We're going to break down the implication of this 10-hour-long piece of unedited footage that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that nobody was going in and out of that cell. We're going to talk about that because there's a little bit more going on here. They're also, like we just said a moment ago, trying to push the narrative that the client list is gone. The client list, doesn't matter. There is no client list. Okay, we're going to break all that down too. So first, we are going to read through, we're going to kick today's broadcast off by reading through this bombshell Axios report, which is reporting from the DOJ and the FBI. And then we're going to break down this entire situation step by step. We're going to hear what everybody has to say about this because this entire situation is freaking nuts. So, folks, thank you all very much for tuning in today. Everybody say, hey, thank you all. It's going to be a good Monday, other than, of course, this news. Let's get into the show, guys. So this is the bombshell report that everybody around the nation, really everybody around the world, is talking about right now, coming out of Axios. Exclusive, the DOJ and the FBI conclude that Jeffrey Epstein had, quote, no client list and that he died by suicide. We are going together to read through this entire situation. President Trump's Justice Department and FBI have concluded that they have no evidence at all, that convicted sex offender and disgraced financier, can I zoom in a little bit? No, it's fine. Disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful figures. There's no evidence at all that he was blackmailing powerful figures, according to the Justice Department and the FBI, or that he kept a client list, or that he was murdered, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. Guys, no client list. This was not a part of a blackmail ring. He wasn't trying to blackmail anybody. And he was not murdered. That is the narrative that they are trying to push right now. Let's keep reading. The administration is releasing a video in both raw and enhanced versions that it says indicates no one entered the area of the Manhattan prison where Epstein was held the night he died. Okay, folks, I just want to show you what that looks like real quick because we're going to talk about that a lot. Okay, we have a video. Like they said, we have a 10-hour-long video, and also we have a condensed video. We have effectively 10 hours of footage of this point of view, this angle from inside of the prison that Jeffrey Epstein was being held. Now, here's the deal. There is something very, very manipulative and deceptive going on with this video footage that has been released by the DOJ. We're going to get to that a little bit later in the show. This footage is not what it seems. Okay, we're going to break this down. Let's continue reading first, though. The video supports a medical examiner's finding that Epstein died by suicide. The two-page memo claims why it matters. The findings represent the first time Trump's administration has officially contradicted conspiracy theorists about Epstein's activities and his death. Theories that had been pushed by the FBI's top two officials before Trump appointed them to the Bureau. You all might remember, we're going to talk about this as well today. Dan Bongino, FBI deputy director, and also FBI director Kash Patel, for years now, have both been publicly saying that this situation is rotten. Something went on here. There's a cover-up. There's a lot of big names involved. We're going to talk about some of those names today, folks. Stand by. This is a cover-up. That's before they got tasked, assigned with this case. Now they're actually the ones personally handling it. And the narrative has shifted a little bit. Now, all of a sudden, there is no client list. He did not kill himself, and there was no blackmail at all whatsoever. Let's keep reading here. Things are changing here. The narrative is shifting. As social media influencers and activists, Kash Patel, now the FBI director, and Dan Bongino, now deputy director, were among those in the MAGA world who questioned the official narrative of how Jeffrey Epstein had died. Patel and Bongino have since said that Epstein killed himself. They came out about a month ago. Bongino and Patel came out about a month ago. They had an interview with Fox News. We're going to watch that today. They said this was not a suicide. I'm sorry, this was not a murder. This was a suicide. He killed himself. There's no conspiracy here, folks. He took his own life in that prison cell. Nobody went in or out. I've seen the footage. We're going to break all this down. Keep on reading here. But it has become an article of faith online, especially on the right, that Epstein's crimes also implicated government officials, celebrities, and business leaders, and that someone killed him to conceal them. Well, listen, despite us not having a client list, and despite them saying that there is no client list, we already know he had clients. Prince, whatever his name is, from the British royal family, Prince Andrew from the British royal family, he was a client. We know that. So we know there was at least one client, Prince Andrew of the British royal family. So I'm just kind of unpackaging all this in my own head right now. According to the narrative that they are pushing right now, Epstein actually only had one client. It was Prince Andrew of the British royal family, and that's it. And there were no other clients. It was only one client. That is what they expect us to believe, because that's the one client we know for a fact. So then what they expect us to believe right now is that there's no client list and that Jeffrey Epstein operated an underage child sex trafficking ring for over a decade with only one client, Prince Andrew. Really? Seriously? Yeah, okay. We're going to keep on reading here. I don't know about that one, man. Patel and Bongino have said that Epstein killed himself, but it has become an art. Okay, so we read that. The memo says no one else involved in the Epstein case will be charged. No one else involved in the case will be charged, according to this DOJ-FBI joint memo. Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, is serving 20-year prison sentence for child sex trafficking and related offenses. Now, folks, this is something I posted on Twitter yesterday. If you're not following me on Twitter, make sure to follow right there's a link to it. I said, reminder that Jeffrey Epstein's number one accomplice, his business partner, his partner in crime, Ghislaine Maxwell, received five different federal convictions here in America and a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking minors. Who, you might ask, did she sex traffic these minors to? Nobody. No one. Because there's no client list. The client list doesn't exist. So then what exactly is Jeffrey Epstein guilty of? What did he do? Why did he do it? Who did Ghislaine Maxwell traffic these minors to in the first place? Because we know she was sex trafficking minors. We convicted her 5 times. She's in prison right now for 20 years. Who did she traffic them to? Who were the patrons of her illicit business? Nobody. Nobody. This is insane. Do they really expect us to believe this? This is nuts. Let's keep on reading. According to the memo, investigators examined footage of Epstein's Manhattan prison cell between 10:40 p.m. on August 9th, 2019, where Epstein was locked in his cell around 6:30 a.m. the next day, where he was found unresponsive. The footage was reviewed by Axios, but couldn't be verified independently, showed no one entering the area. The administration said, folks, we got the footage. We're going to take a look at that footage. We're going to do it today on this very broadcast. Like I said, stand by for that, because this footage is not what it seems. This footage is a deception, and I'm going to explain why here pretty soon. We'll get to it in a minute. The FBI, quote, the FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, balancing the color, and improving its sharpness for greater clarity and viewability. says the memo from the DOJ and the FBI. Investigators found, quote, no incriminating client list. Important. I want to pick this apart word for word. Quote, no incriminating, and by the way, this is the memo. We have the memo. This is what it looks like. It's a 2-page memo from the FBI and the DOJ. It's a joint. Okay. In the memo, it says, quote, no incriminating client list. Okay, so what does that mean? That means there is a client list. That means that there is, in fact, a client list, but that they have deemed it to be non-incriminating, which means that they're not going to show it to us. So really, here's where we're at. They have a client list. There is a client list, but they've determined that it is non-incriminating. There are a bunch of names, but they're not going to show us because they have taken it upon themselves to determine that nobody's guilty. So it doesn't matter. There's no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals. Really? Really, is that right? Then why did he spend years collecting tapes? Remember this? In 2019, the FBI raided Epstein's home in New York City and discovered hidden safes with computer disks and stashes of VHS video footage. Remember that? Remember this? And by the way, this is in his New York City penthouse. They found the same exact thing. Cameras everywhere, cassette tapes everywhere, videotapes everywhere, VHS and also DVD recordings on his private island, as well as his New York City penthouse. So why again, real quick, why again is he collecting all this footage? Why does he have cameras everywhere? On all of his properties, on all of his estates? Why is he recording everything for decades? Why does he have decades worth of footage? You know, now everybody says, yeah, I've got a home security camera. Everybody has a Blink camera these days, home security. Listen, Jeffrey Epstein was doing this in 2003. Listen, how many people had security cameras set up in every single room of their house, in the closet, in the bathrooms, on every single one of his properties? In 2003, in 2004, 5, 6. Really? Okay. Investigators found no incriminating client list. So this is that memo. Zoom out. As MAGA influencers, Patel and Bongino had been amongst the loudest voices touting Epstein conspiracy theories. True. Yes, they were. In fact, we're going to take a look at some of that. Since joining the government as Trump appointees, they've been more measured in talking about the Epstein investigation, and they've thrown cold water on the notion that he was murdered. He killed himself, Bongino said in May on Fox News. We're going to look at that interview today. We're going to play that. I've seen the whole file, he says. MAGA's media universe and some of its voices on Capitol Hill have expressed frustration with the Trump administration's handling. Are you frustrated? Everybody here is a Trump voter, I think. We all love Donald Trump. Are you frustrated? I'll be the first. I'm going to type yes in the chat. Yeah, this is frustrating. Yes. In fact, if you're not frustrated yet, there's some other stuff I've got to show you guys today. If you're not frustrated yet, you will be. Give it 20 minutes. Stick around for today's show. You will be if you're not yet. Let's keep on reading. We have a lot to talk about today. People are frustrated in the MAGA universe because of the Trump administration's handling of the Epstein case since February, when DOJ released a tranche of Epstein-related files that were already publicly available. They did that. We're going to talk about that. This is not what we or the American people asked for, and a complete disappointment, said Rep. Anna Paulina Luna. She's a Republican from Florida. Get the information we asked for, she says. She's a Republican rep from Florida. Yeah, I agree. I agree. When Elon Musk had a falling out with Trump last month, Musk accused the president of being, quote, in the Epstein files. Okay, quickly we'll break this down. We have known, okay, this actually ties together. We have known that President Trump's name is technically in the Epstein files. We have known this since February. They just said in February, they released a bunch of files that were already publicly available. In these files that Trump himself released in February that were also already publicly available anyway, that's why that was so frustrating. President Trump's name is in the Epstein files. Here's the problem with Epstein, okay? Epstein, for decades, he genuinely was a successful, charismatic, celebrity socialite. He was clicked in. He was part of the clique. He was going to parties. He was meeting with people. He was making business deals. He was funding all different types of universities and research and political campaigns. Epstein was clicked in. That's why he was so good, if you can call it that, at performing his job of, what was his job? Harvesting blackmail on the rich and wealthy of this country. Which now the DOJ and the FBI is denying. There's no blackmail, no sign of blackmail. We all know that's a load of baloney. We're going to break that down. But listen, Jeffrey Epstein was clicked in. People forget this. They're talking about President Trump's relation to Epstein. Trump is in the Epstein files. Listen, President Trump banned Jeffrey Epstein from all of his properties in 1996 before Jeffrey Epstein had any criminal convictions, a decade before Epstein was ever criminally convicted for anything. Donald Trump, 10 years before Epstein was guilty of anything, Trump determined, he said, man, this guy's a freak. This guy is a freaking weirdo. I don't want this guy anywhere near me. Trump determined that on his own a decade before Epstein had before any of this stuff was public at all. Okay? So people trying to say, oh, Trump is guilty of something. Listen, Trump got rid of Epstein. Trump kicked this freak loose a decade before anybody in the country even knew who Epstein was. Let's keep on moving here. Do not forget that. Do not get that part twisted. Now, still, the questions about Trump's name is in the government's Epstein files have persisted because they had been acquaintances who attended the same parties in the 90s. Yeah, that is true. And went to a lot of parties. In a 2017 interview with Michael Wolff, Epstein even claimed at one point he was Trump's closest friend, according to Epstein. According to Epstein. Trump, however, said in the 2019 interview that he was not a fan of Epstein and hadn't spoken to him for 15 years. He also said that he had barred Epstein from his golf resorts in the early 2000s. Yep. Democrats, meanwhile, have demanded to know more about Epstein-Trump relationship. Listen, here's what I want. I want to know about every single relationship Epstein had, not just with Trump, with everybody. I want to know everybody. And that's why we're so frustrated right now, is because we're not getting any of that. We're saying, so now they're saying there's no client list. Actually, there is a client list, but it's not incriminating, so you don't get to see it. American people, you don't get to see it, even though we promised you would see it. There is a client list, but it doesn't matter, so you don't get to see it. And also, there's no sign of blackmail, and we know for a fact he committed suicide, even though even that's up for debate. That narrative is entirely based off this footage that got released yesterday. We're going to watch that footage. We're going to break that down for you here pretty soon. Okay, I want to show you something here. Benny Johnson, who has been interviewing for years now a lot of these key players involved, he posted an update about this last night. We're going to move on here. That is the Axios article. Now we're going to break down this entire situation. Benny Johnson said yesterday, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were both charged by the federal government for operating a massive sex trafficking ring that involved, quote, thousands of victims. They were both found guilty in a federal court. Once again, Ghislaine Maxwell, right now, her ass is sitting in a federal prison for 20 years, 20-year prison sentence. Why? What are her charges? Sex trafficking minors. She has 5 of them, 5 federal convictions. In fact, this is the report from the United States District Attorney Office, District of New York, where she was found guilty on justice.gov. Maxwell sentenced, so this is not some conspiracy. Look at this. Following a 1-month jury trial of conspiracy to entice minors to travel and engage in illicit sex acts, conspiracy to transport minors to participate in illegal sex acts, transporting a minor to participate in illegal sex acts, sex trafficking conspiracy, and sex trafficking a minor. These are her 5 charges. Guilty on all of them. She's in prison for 20 years. Okay, then it kind of begs the question, who was she trafficking these minors to? If you're trafficking somebody, you got to be trafficking them somewhere to somebody. Who was she trafficking the minors for? Why? To who? Where? When? Nobody. Doesn't matter. It's not incriminating. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Hey, you're not allowed to ask that. American people, you don't get to know that. Okay? Once again, this is ridiculous. Keep on reading here. They were both found guilty in a federal court. One of their clients is pictured here. Prince Andrew. There he is. We're talking about him earlier. The Duke of New York. He paid an Epstein victim tens of millions of dollars for her silence. He bought her off. They settled out of court. I want to say $23 million. Virginia Roberts' story is horrific and well documented. Now she's dead. You know that? This woman here who was sex trafficked by Epstein, Anne Maxwell, to Prince Andrew of the royal family, she died a couple months ago. I think she got hit by a bus. Unlucky. Isn't that weird? That's a little bit weird. She was the most outspoken victim. In fact, a lot of this comes down to her and her testimony. Okay? She passed away a couple months ago. That's a little bit weird. Raises some questions. To say there are thousands of victims in a convicted sex trafficking ring, and then to say there were, quote, no customers, that's what I'm saying, Benny, when the operation happened right before our very eyes, insults our intelligence. Yeah. Yes or no? Is your intelligence being a little bit insulted here? I think so. Mine is. Trafficking women to no one. They were trafficking women to no one. Underage. I don't buy it. There are other dark forces at play here. I think that's the truth. There are dark forces at play going on. Speaking of Benny Johnson, this is Benny Johnson talking to Kash Patel 2 years ago. This is before Kash Patel became the FBI director. Take a look. Turn this up. Play it. Oh, I need to turn on my headset here. Sorry. Hold up. Hold that thought. Less than 2 years ago, Kash Patel was ranting about the FBI hiding the Epstein client list. Now he's in charge of the Bureau, and he says the client list doesn't exist.
You know, it's the same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing?
Oh, I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Yeah, why is the FBI doing that? Good question. Yeah, that's a good question.
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, you know, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if release the names, right? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? You're going to accept Dick Durbin's word or whoever that guy is as to who is on that list and who isn't, and that it can and can't be released? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. We have an election coming up, and we need to adjudicate this matter at the polls. God knows the FBI and DOJ aren't going to do anything. But how are you going to reward the FBI with a new headquarters building after their illegal surveillance on Donald Trump continues with a reauthorization of FISA, and we can't even get basic documents out? This is why America hates Congress. And this is why I'm tired of the Republican majority saying they're going to get the job done and failing.
Okay, so this clip here, this video 2 years ago, obviously has not aged well because as of last night, late last night, once again, the DOJ and the FBI, Kash Patel is the director of the FBI. FBI director Kash Patel has come out alongside Pamela Bondi. They've come out and said, guess what? There is no list. They said there's no list. Well, actually, to be more correct, to be more precise, if you actually look at the document, the statement they released, there is a list, technically, but they have determined that the list is non-incriminating, and so because it doesn't matter, there's nothing incriminating on the, yeah, we have a list of names, could be hundreds or thousands, but it's not incriminating, and so you guys don't get to see it. That's what they have decided. There's a whole bogus narrative being pushed right now. I want to show you, this is Dan Bongino, FBI Deputy Director, and Director Kash Patel, both of them on Fox News in March, a couple months ago, talking about Epstein. Keep in mind, this is now, they are in charge of the FBI. The tune changed a little bit here. Take a look at what they had to say a couple months ago.
You said Jeffrey Epstein.
I'm going to turn up the audio in case it's a little bit quiet here for you guys. Okay, take a look.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
I know it's hard work.
Now they're saying he killed himself. He killed himself. And now I got to tell you guys something real quick. Right now there are two different frustrations relating to the Epstein situation right now. The first frustration is, did he or did he not kill himself? We're being told one thing here, he did not, or he did rather. Okay, that's one frustration. The other frustration, and actually this is my primary frustration, show us the list. You are obfuscating, you're dodging, you're lying, you are being manipulative about this list. Drop the damn list. That's something that President Trump campaigned on. Kash Patel, you've been saying for months and months and months, if you are FBI director, you're going to release the list. Pam Bondi has been saying for months, she's going to release the list. This is something these guys specifically have been talking about for a very long time. And now we're being told, as of last night, there's no list, but actually there secretly is a list. But we have determined that it's not incriminating, so you don't get to see it, American people. So we lied. We said we're going to reveal the list for months and months and months. And there is a list. There's no list, but secretly there is, but you don't get to see it. That really is my primary frustration. Whether or not Epstein killed himself, that's actually, for me, that's kind of on the back burner here. That is an issue. We get to the bottom of that. We're going to talk about that a little bit more today, but the list. My big deal is the list. This is Bongino. Another clip here. Let's see how this one has aged.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it.
Good point. Good point, Dan Bongino, from the year 2023. That's a good point. I agree with you.
Outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
He killed himself. You want me to I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
This entire situation is a freaking disaster. This is a freaking disaster. Listen, you know what? Let's talk big picture here. I think, you know, I've known people like this that they kind of don't really care about the Epstein thing. It's not the biggest deal for them. Yeah, it's bad, but maybe it's not what we should be focused on. I've heard that. I've heard that criticism. I know that there are people that feel that way. Epstein, whatever. I'm not that interested. I know there are those people out there. Listen, even if this situation doesn't personally interest you, you got to acknowledge this doesn't look good. This is not a good look. This is you talk about egg on your face. This is a bunch of egg on what can you say, on the Trump administration's face. And you guys know I love Trump. I'm a diehard Trump voter. We got to be honest here. We need to have an adult conversation about this. This is not a good look. They need to release the damn list. We've been talking about doing this for years. Kash Patel has been promising for years. Pamela Bondi, our Attorney General, has been promising for years. We're going to touch base with Pam Bondi here in a minute. Release the list. It's egg on the face. Wipe it off. Release the list. Right now, they're trying to say this is over. This is done. Right now, the FBI and the DOJ, they're saying, it's done. It's over. We're moving on. Stop talking about it. I don't know. We have an expert here on Bannon's War Room. Take a look at this.
I got to wonder what is going on at the leadership of the Justice Department and the FBI to allow them to think that statements like as follows. This is a classic. Of course, we're suing for this stuff, right? And so they say the systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So there's a client list, but
okay, finally, and I'm no longer living in Crazy Town. That was my conclusion. They said there's no, quote, there's no incriminating client list. Okay, what does that mean? It means there is a client list, but they have determined it's not incriminating. Baloney.
But it's not incriminating, so therefore you can't see it. There was also no credible evidence that found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. Well, give us the incredible evidence. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. So they uncovered evidence, but it wasn't enough to predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. So you can.
They're not even investigating third parties. Hold up, wait a minute. How do they know that there's nothing incriminating on this client list, which does exist according to their own 2-page report, if they're not even investigating anybody on the client? Those are the third parties. Who are the third parties? It's the people on the list. They're not even investigating them. How do you know it's not incriminating? There's no investigation.
Go line by line and kind of, go through this analysis that I'm going through. It may be unfair or overly critical, but in my view, unless you have the records to back up the conclusions you've drawn in a case such as this isn't worth much.
I'll say it again. Listen, as far as I'm concerned right now, whether or not Epstein killed himself in the prison, that is 1/10 as important as the client list. Right now, we are being told by the FBI DOJ joint report that there is a client list, but we have determined it is not incriminating. So you're telling me that nobody on this list engaged in criminal behavior? Keep in mind, what are they clients of? They are clients of the Jeffrey Epstein child sex trafficking ring. And you're telling me none of them are guilty of anything? We're talking client list. Clients of what? Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell, by the way, has been found guilty of 5 federal convictions. She's sitting in a prison cell for 20 years for what? Sex trafficking children. And so we have a client list. What are they clients of? They are the clients of an international child sex trafficking ring. But none of them are guilty. Nothing there is incriminating. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They're a client of a child sex trafficking ring. Keep that in mind. Everybody on that list should be guilty. This is Pam Bondi. I told you guys, listen, as this broadcast goes on, you're going to keep on getting more and more and more frustrated here. This is Pam Bondi just a couple months ago. Pam Bondi, here we go. Take a look.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
The client list, a couple months ago, the client list is on her desk. As of a couple months ago, the client list was on her desk. Now, and also not only was it on her desk, but she said they're going to be releasing it imminently, under the directive of the president. Imminent release. Now, you guys don't get to see it. You guys don't get to see it anymore. Because hey, Pam Bondi here. I took a good look at it. I decided it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. You guys don't need to see it. Whatever. It's not, trust me, guys. It's just not that big of a deal. Alina Habba said the same thing about a month ago. This is on the Piers Morgan show. Something to the similar effect here. Take a look at this.
But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs. We have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be?
It is disturbing. We have flight logs. We have names. These are the clients. It is disturbing. We know where they went. We know who they are. This is Alina Habba. But now, today, last night, doesn't matter. You guys don't get to see it.
Be shocking.
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court, but again, now it's time for accountability.
There is going to be no accountability. By the way, now it's time for accountability. Now it's going to be accountability time. Guess what? As of last night, the report coming out of the FBI and the DOJ, if you have been sitting here hoping for accountability, guess what? There's going to be no accountability. The FBI and the DOJ, they have determined together in unison that nobody on this list did anything incriminating. If you've been on the edge of your seat waiting for accountability here, guess what? The FBI, the DOJ last night shut that down. There is no accountability.
We have seen for so many years, Pierce, in this country, many investigations, subpoenas, testimonies in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a general frustration with accountability. We take it halfway, we don't take it home. And I really believe that now with Cash and Pam, there will be accountability. But
man, I gotta say, this is really just not good. This is just not a good look. I gotta say, with Pam and Cash Patel, they're gonna bring it home. So once again, all of these DVDs, these recordings, the VHS tapes that they found inside of Jeffrey Epstein's New York City penthouse and on his private island, we know he was recording everybody. He had cameras everywhere. He's recording everybody at all times. Inside of his private estates. He's, hey, listen, come on over to my private island. Come over to my New York City penthouse. Can I interest you in an underage sex trafficked whatever? Yes, all right, here. Secretly recording everything. Nothing incriminating happened though, according to this report. None of it. None of it. Absolutely astounding. Now, folks, there's something else I want to show you guys here. Okay, this was released by the FBI last night. This is a big conversation. I told you that this video they released, it's a 10-hour-long video pointed right at Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell. Allegedly, we're going to break this down here. Is meant to concretely solidify the narrative that Jeffrey Epstein, that nobody went in and out of that prison cell. Nobody went in and out. Therefore, nobody could have killed him. He killed himself. That's why this 10-hour-long video footage has been released by the FBI last night. This is breaking news. It's actually, okay, Justice Department releases a 10-hour-long video of the night Jeffrey Epstein died, saying it proves he took his own life, saying there was no evidence that he kept a client list. The FBI's independent review of this footage confirmed that from the time Epstein was locked in his cell around 10:40 p.m. on August 9th, 2019 until 6:30 a.m. the next morning, nobody entered any of the tiers of the SHU, the FBI and DOJ said in a memo. Folks, this footage is not what it seems. Give me 2 minutes, we're going to break this entire down. This footage is a deception. This footage is a direct, intentional manipulation. Follow along here. We did not uncover any evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Okay. So I want to show you what this footage looks like real quick. We have a little 2-minute sample you can kind of see here. So it is 10 hours of this. I'm going to speed through this. Here you have a prison guard going, there's a hallway there. There's another prison guard walking around, going in and out, upstairs area. There's a guy taking out the garbage. So this is a little snippet. We've got 10 hours of this. Okay, and so it is 10 hours of this one camera angle. This is the camera angle. 10 hours of this, of watching people go around. Now, based on this footage that the Department of Justice released last night, 10 hours long of this, where would you guess is Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell? You see prison guards going in and out of this door here on the right underneath my camera. What is the implication of this footage? Where would you guess the prison cell is? You would guess it's right here. I think any reasonable person would say, oh, yeah, the camera's pointed right at the prison cell, and that's the point of the footage, is to show that this door, for 10 hours straight, nobody went in and out of that door. This door remains closed. That must be Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell. Well, actually, if you guys can bear with me for a second, Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell is actually down below on the bottom floor. See that little strip right there? That is the far left edge. Actually, that is the hallway. It's not even the door of his cell. That is the hallway that leads into Jeffrey Epstein's cell. So this door here, the one that's big up right in your face, that's not Jeffrey Epstein's cell. Jeffrey Epstein's cell's down below on the floor. It's around the corner. There's a hallway leading into it. You can see just the edge of the hallway. This is the footage that they have analyzed, all 10 hours worth. You can't even see the door. And if you don't believe me, I want to show you something here. Okay, look at this. Just so we're clear, this video doesn't even show the entrance to Epstein's tier that he was on, much less his actual cell door. The video is completely useless. Okay? And I'm going to break this all down for you right now. As I said, this in the red circle, that is the hallway that leads to Jeffrey Epstein's door. Not this one that's up in your face. Not that one. This one down below. That's the hallway. Here is a map of the prison. I want to make this nice and big for you. Like I said, folks, if you're not frustrated yet, you will be. So this is the camera right below, right there, that we're all looking out of. That's the point of view we had. Well, guess what? Okay? This is Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell. Down below, you can't even see the door. You can see the hallway going in and out. Does this make sense? We're looking from up here, one floor up above, looking down. His prison cell is down below on a lower floor around a corner. You can't even see the damn door. And so this narrative that Epstein was not murdered, that he had to have killed himself because nobody went in and out of that cell, according to the FBI, that entire narrative is built on this 10-hour-long video that doesn't even show the entrance to his cell. That is what is going on here. This is nuts. We also know, listen, if you don't believe me, this is a picture here that the FBI themselves released around the time that Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019. This is what his cell door looks like. This is the cell door. This photo is from the FBI 6 years ago when he died. This is Jeffrey Epstein's door with the yellow do not cross crime scene tape on it. Okay, there's another angle of it. This is what it looks like if it's open. There it is. Well, do you see this door anywhere in this footage? No, because it's down below. This is what we're talking about. It's down below on a different floor. So like I said, they're saying, listen, guys, we released the video. Hey, listen, hey, everybody. You can trust us. We've got a 10-hour-long video here. You can go watch every minute of it if you want. Go watch the video. The video doesn't even show the door. It doesn't show anything. The video is the cover-up. It is absolutely insincere. It's bogus. We have something else here. This is the cell door. The door to the cell occupied by Jeffrey Epstein and inmate 3 from July 30th to August 9th, 2019. It was cell number 220. Yep, and look, right there. These are photos from the FBI 6 years ago. Jeffrey Epstein on the door, cell number 220. Inmate, there's a photo of him. This video is worthless. This video means nothing. Everybody's talking about, oh, this video. You can trust the video. See, look at that door. Nobody went in and out. That's not his door. By the way, I want to say real quick, if you guys are new to the broadcast, please make sure to subscribe and like the video. This is nuts. I think, listen, I'll say this, man. If you're an American here, if you're a patriotic American and this does not piss you off, if what's going on here today does not piss you off, you are asleep at the wheel. Give me a yes if you are pissed off about this. This is a bunch of, pardon my language, folks, this is bullshit. This is a steaming load of bullshit. It is your patriotic obligation to be pissed off about this. In fact, Dan Bongino a couple years ago, remember what Dan Bongino said? You don't believe me? Take it from Dan Bongino circa 2023. Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye. I agree with you, Dan Bongino circa 2023. This is a big deal. Do not let it go. Do not let it go. Do not roll over on this. Do not give up on this. This is a big deal. This is one of the biggest deals.
Eye on this. Catherine Rumler, I want you.
I agree, Bongino. I agree. And so what's going on? Why the cover up? What type of names do we have on this list? Well, I'm sure we have a lot to keep in mind. Listen, here is the, you know, we're going to have a little bit of a nuanced conversation. Everybody put your thinking caps on here. Everybody's got to be real intelligent for this conversation we're about to have. Give me a minute here. Jeffrey Epstein was evil and what he did was terrible, just really satanic, demonic, what he did. Everybody knows his job. He's harvesting blackmail. He is entrapping wealthy, successful Hollywood celebrities, politicians, business owners, everybody he could to harvest blackmail, recording it, audio, video. The Jeffrey Epstein thing is terrible. That's what he's doing. He's harvesting blackmail. Despite what the FBI and DOJ said today, that's what he's doing. He was a blackmail harvester. And this worked in multiple ways. You know, keep in mind, for 20 years, he genuinely was a successful, clicked-in, charismatic billionaire. He was going to the parties. He's got connections, whatever. That's why he was so effective, if you can call it that, at the terrible thing he was trying to do. He was effective at it. And I hate to say that, but he was, because what he was effective at was evil, but he was. Now, this Epstein thing, there's a lot of nuance, and this is what I want to break down with you guys. Okay? Not everybody on this Epstein list partook in the services he was offering. Okay? And I want to give you a rundown. Let me give you a hypothetical. You have to acknowledge that this is true. This most certainly happened. Take a listen to this. Okay, imagine I'm going to make up a person. Hey, your name is Kevin. Kevin is an up-and-coming young politician who's trying to run for the U.S. House of Representatives. He's trying to get in the political scene. He's launching a congressional campaign. He gets a phone call. Keep in mind, the year is 1998 or 2001. This is before anybody knew. This is before anybody knew that Epstein was who we know he is now. Kevin gets a phone call from a guy named Jeffrey Epstein. Hey, Kevin, Jeffrey Epstein here. I'm a charismatic billionaire socialite. I heard you're launching a political campaign. I would love to meet with you at the hotel downtown. Come on down to Hotel Hilton downtown or whatever, and maybe I can support your political campaign. Kevin is a young politician. He's trying fresh to the game. Wow, I just got off the phone with a billionaire, Jeffrey Epstein, billionaire socialite. So you go. So later that night, he has a meeting at the hotel bar with Jeffrey Epstein, billionaire socialite, charismatic guy. And so you're sitting there talking, you're doing this 20 minutes. Jeffrey Epstein says, hey, listen, Kevin, why don't we come up? I'll write a check for you upstairs in my hotel room. Follow me upstairs. Kevin doesn't know better. Kevin says, okay, yeah, sure. Kevin follows Jeffrey Epstein upstairs to the hotel bedroom because he thinks Jeffrey Epstein is going to write him a $50,000 check for his campaign, as Jeffrey Epstein was known to do. That's what he did. He was leveraging money and wealth and social status to get this stuff done. Now they're up in Jeffrey Epstein's room. Okay, and by the way, Kevin doesn't know this, but this hotel room is bugged. There's cameras everywhere. Jeffrey Epstein put him there. That's what he did. That's another thing he did. Okay? Jeffrey Epstein says, hey, listen, Kevin, take a seat. Let me get out my checkbook. We'll talk about writing this check here. Kevin takes a seat in the hotel room. Jeffrey Epstein says, hey, listen, Kevin, you like to party? You like to have fun, Kevin? Kevin says, what do you mean? What's going on here? Jeffrey Epstein says, he snaps his fingers. He says, hey, come on out here. Little does Kevin know, but who was hiding in the bathroom? Who was waiting in the bathroom, in the hotel bathroom? Guess what? 15-year-old human trafficked sex slave. Walks on out, naked. Okay? This is the type of terrible, disgusting stuff that this guy was doing. Let's have an adult conversation. Kevin... Okay, now at this point, Kevin has two options. Kevin, maybe he's a disgusting guy. Kevin says, all right, yeah, I love to party. Let's go. Or let's say Kevin has a backbone. Kevin has a spine. Kevin says, hey, listen, what the hell is going on here, dude? Go F yourself. I'm out of here. Jeffrey Epstein says, hey, listen, before you leave, Kevin, even though you're not interested in this, what I'm offering here, Kevin, guess what? This hotel room is bugged. I've got you on footage from 10 different angles, standing next to a naked 15-year-old in a hotel room in New York City. Guess what, Kevin? I own you now. I know you didn't do anything wrong. You know you didn't do anything wrong. But guess what, buddy? What do you think it's going to look like if this video gets leaked? What do you think it's going to look like if this video is airing on Fox News, CNN later tonight? What do you think your campaign donors are going to say? What do you think your wife and kids are going to say? You're in a hotel room alone with a naked 15-year-old? What do you think happens now, Kevin? Guess what, Kevin? You're my bitch. I own you now. You're going to do exactly what I say. And I know you're innocent. You know you're innocent, but I own you now. That is how this stuff works. And by the way, some people, they said, no, I don't want any part of it. Other people said, yeah, let's go. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Okay? Because he already has the blackmail. He's already got you. Okay? And so that is how these operations work. It's terrible, it's evil, it's twisted, it is demonic, and it is satanic. And that's why this list is so big, because he was doing this for 20 years. Okay? Cyclically, over and over and over again, to hundreds, they said thousands of people. And now Kevin, let's say Kevin, you know, now he takes the check. He's already compromised. He's got the blackmail. He's on the video with the naked 15-year-old or whatever. Guess what? Now he's in Congress. And guess what? Anytime Jeffrey Epstein calls him, you know Kevin's going to pick up that phone and say, listen, Epstein, I hate your guts, but what do you need from me? What do you need? I got to do it, because if I don't, you're leaking the video and my life is over and I'm going to jail. My wife is going to leave me. My kids, I'm in disgrace, whatever. Okay? That's how this works. That is how this works. Okay. Anyway, the point is you have a lot of very powerful, influential people on this list, one of which, everybody's favorite person, his name is Bill Gates. I want to pull up this old report, Tucker Carlson, from a couple years ago. He was spot on. Take a look at this.
So the last we checked in with Bill Gates on the question of his close friend Jeffrey Epstein, Gates was telling us, well, he's dead, so who cares? But thankfully, for once, the media did something right, and today asked Bill Gates about Jeffrey Epstein anyway. And here's how that went.
One of the issues that's dogged you is that of your relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you regret the relationship that you maintained with him against Melinda's advice and wishes?
Oh, I've said that you're going way back in time. But yeah,
new audience.
I will say for the, over 100th time, yeah, I shouldn't have had dinners with him.
Shouldn't have had dinners with that guy. Now, I'll tell you what, you remember in 2019, what happened months after the Jeffrey Epstein situation blew up in 2019? Melinda Gates, Bill Gates' wife, said, divorce time, I'm out. I'm done. Okay? She said, Bill, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. What does Melinda know? What do you think Melinda Gates knows about all this? We're going to hear from her in a second. Take a look.
Epstein had a way of sexually compromising people. Is that what Melinda was warning you about?
No. I mean, it's...
No, huh?
No, I had dinner with him, and that's all.
Really?
Yeah, it was just...
Really? Okay.
Dinner. What my ex-wife said about our divorce and Jeffrey Epstein had nothing to do with sex. So what did his ex-wife, this is Bill Gates, one of the world's richest men, a guy who got rich selling horrible software and then buying up all our farmland and forcing medicine on you don't want. What did his ex-wife say about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein? Well, we actually have the tape. Watch this carefully.
So it was also widely reported that Bill had a friendship or business or some kind of contact with Jeffrey Epstein, and that you were not, that was very upsetting to you. Did that play a role in the divorce at all in this process?
Yeah, as I said, it's not one thing, it was many things. But I did not like that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you made that clear to him?
Why not? Why? What's wrong with Epstein? Hey, Melinda, what did you know? Why, years ago, for years, ongoing for a long time, why did you not like that? Did you know something, Melinda? What's going on here?
Made that clear to him. I also met Jeffrey Epstein exactly one time.
Did you?
Yes, because I wanted to see who this man was. And I regretted it from the second I stepped in the door. He was abhorrent. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards.
Wow.
So Bill Gates' wife is describing a man, her former husband, who was somehow addicted to seeing this guy, Jeffrey Epstein. Why is that? Why would he keep going back? To the point his wife had his...
Why was Bill Gates addicted to hanging out with Epstein? Maybe he was just a fun guy to hang around. Maybe he was just, he knew how to have an interesting conversation. Or maybe there was something else, and maybe they knew about it the entire time.
Stage kind of intervention by going with him. And why do we keep taking Bill Gates seriously? He's very rich, of course, but that's not a reason to treat him as a serious person.
And so now you all understand why President Trump banned Jeffrey Epstein and completely cut contact from Epstein in 1996? There's this video from the early 90s of Epstein and Trump casually talking at a social mixer at a party from the early 90s. Never forget, listen, do not let anybody spin the narrative here. Donald Trump in the mid-90s, he determined on his own, Jeffrey Epstein is a freak. I want nothing to do with this guy. In fact, not only did he cut him off himself, never hung out with him again, but he also He also banned Epstein from every one of the properties that he owned. All the skyscrapers, Mar-a-Lago, all the clubs, all the golf courses down in whatever. Listen, Jeffrey Epstein, you're not welcome back. There's something wrong with this guy. This guy's a freak. And by the way, this is a decade before Epstein ever had any convictions guilty of anything. This is before anybody even really knew publicly that Jeffrey Epstein was a freak. Trump sussed him out a decade before everybody else and said, listen, get this guy out of here. We don't want him. But so, folks, this is the very frustrating status of the Epstein situation. As a little bit of a recap here, okay? Late last night, the DOJ and the FBI in a joint report, you're looking at it right here. This is the report that they released. They said, we can confirm that he did, in fact, kill himself. Nobody else killed him. He killed himself. And that determination is based off of this 10-hour-long video segment that doesn't even show Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell. We broke that down. They have also determined that there is technically a client list, but that the client list doesn't have anything incriminating on it. And because they have determined there's nothing incriminating on the client list, we don't get to see it. They're never going to publicly release it. Now, keep in mind, when we say client list, what are these people clients of? Clients of what? A client is somebody that has purchased something. What did they purchase? They purchased underage sex trafficked minors by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who is currently sitting in a federal prison for 20 years with 5 federal convictions of underage child sex trafficking. So once again, nobody on the client list was guilty, according to the FBI and the DOJ. Well, listen, kind of by nature of being a client, you kind of are looking a little bit guilty. You kind of are. Because what were they buying? Child sex slaves. That's what they were buying. Okay, so this entire situation is bullshit. This reeks. This is a cover-up. There's something going on here. We have been getting gaslit and told by Kash Patel and Alina Habba and Pam Bondi, wherever she went. I don't know where she went. Anyway, we've been getting told by these people for months now that we're going to get the information, that we are going to, they've been telling us that we will get the list. We are going to get the list. The list is on my desk. We're going to release it imminently, inbound. Here comes the list. Last night, turns out we're never going to see the list. Okay, so we were lied to. And so that's where we are. And so that's the current state. That's all the updates we have for the day, guys. That is the current state of this. I think it's very important that we do not shut up about this. You listen, I'm gonna reference back to Bongino from 2 years ago. What did he say?
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this.
Bongino circa 2023. I agree with you. I will not. I think it's very important that all of us keep talking about this, keep bringing this up, keep calling this out. This is baloney. This is bogus, whatever word you want to call it. It's unacceptable. That's the best word. We are not going to shut up. Now, here's what I think. That's going to be a wrap for today's broadcast. This was just a little bit of a recap broadcast, about an hour long. I want to say thank you all very much for tuning in. I just wanted to cover every aspect of this. Every aspect of this entire ridiculous situation. I wanted to get it out there so you guys know what's up. That's all we have at the moment. Thank you all very, very much for tuning in today. If you are a new subscriber, if you're a chatter, if you're a super chatter, thank you all very, very, very much. I appreciate it, folks. Thank you very much. I'm gonna get to work and make some videos here. Thank you. I got to get out of here. Thank you all very, very much. Make sure to like the broadcast. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys a little bit later. So thank you all. Have a great day. As great as you can, given the circumstances. But everybody have a great day.